This is FIBA Podcast. Thank you for joining us in our morning daily devotion.
Greetings and welcome to the last episode on the series called The 7 Hebrew Words for Worship, exploring the different expressions of worship as the Bible teaches us. I sincerely applaud you for joining me on this, and I hope each of these episodes has blessed you. I am very much excited about today's episode as we look at the last word in the series, as well as wrap up our perspective on all that we have seen this far. My name is Johanan, and I am the pastor of a local church in Bangalore. Let's get into the text. Shakha, prostrate before greatness. Halal, loud, obnoxious praise of celebration. Yada, hands lifted in thanksgiving. Barakh, affectionate respect. Zamar, skillful artistic praise. Tehillah, well thought out praises. And then we have today's word. Beloved, please pay close attention to the climax of today's episode, as it truly gives a perspective on how we ought to think about worship according to the Bible. Because there is very clearly a direction to all this. The significance of today's word is such that this is the most regularly used word for worship in the Hebrew Bible, more than all the other words. Meaning, if you thought till now that worship is defined by music, by now you've realized that is merely one of the forms of worship, an auxiliary in fact. If you thought only bowing down in reverence was worship, that too is only one of the forms. If you thought worship meant only praising God at the top of your voice and displaying exuberance, don't get carried away, because there are other forms as well. Many denominations single out one over the other, but the Bible clearly invites the entire human experience to have a dedicated avenue for each part of the spectrum of worship. However, no one would be prepared to know what today's information holds in store. The seventh and most commonly used word for worship in the Bible, and in fact, the most important of all, is the Hebrew word avad. Avad has nothing to do with the other 6 solely per se. In fact, it incorporates all 6 into its umbrella. Are you ready for this one? Avad means to serve or to work. Think about that. Avad is serving or working. You would have heard many people say work is worship. That is true, but however, this word is more within a covenantal framework. It is a word that bridges the gap between the sacred and secular. There are 3 contexts for this word commonly seen in scripture. Number 1, physical work, like we see in Genesis 2:15, Adam works the ground. Number 2, service, as to a physical earthly master. Number 3, spiritual worship or religious service, like in Exodus chapter 7 verse 16, let my people go that they may serve me, or also as Levites and priests were serving in the temple. This word is paradigmatic because it tells us that the Bible doesn't differentiate between sacred and secular work. The same avad done in agriculture work by farmers is as significant to God as the avad done in temple service by priests. Every labor, when directed to God, becomes worship. The other most important biblical observation to note is that the same word is used both of Pharaoh as well as of God. What does this mean? Exodus is the story of 2 kings, Pharaoh and Yahweh. One doesn't regard the life of his slaves, the other is looking to deliver them to their own land. One cares for nothing except his purposes to be accomplished at all costs. The other desires to dwell among them and fellowship with them. One enslaves them by telling them to make bricks without straw within the same time pressure, while the other invents and establishes the Sabbath and gives them rest. One is a human oppressor, but the other the divine liberator. And service to both uses the very same word. This means work can either be stressful or it could mean freedom. It depends on whom you serve. What's most interesting is to note the frequency of occurrence of each word that we've seen so far in the Bible. Shakha, to prostrate, occurs about 170 times in scripture. Halal, to praise, occurs about 160 to 170 times. Yada, to give thanks, occurs about 110 to 111 times. Barak, to bless or to kneel, occurs about 327 times, but most of the times it is used in the context of kneeling or a patriarch blessing someone else. The occurrences for worship are quite few. Zamar, to make music, occurs only 45 times. Tehillah, songs, occur only 57 times. But the most occurring word is avad, a whopping 289 times in the context of worshipping or serving. What does this imply? It means that to worship God means to serve Him. This means that all of life's aspects turn into worship. This is where we get the idea that worship is a lifestyle, not a performance. Worship is serving. There is a reason why the Psalms of Ascents, the collection of Psalms from 120 to 134, ideally viewed as the songs one would sing on the way to a pilgrimage to the temple, covers life not only talking about God's praises, but every aspect of human life, including building a house, family life, work, agony, the collective suffering of God's people, unity, etc. This is also why in the New Testament we have passages such as 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 31 that says, "Whether you eat or drink, do all for the glory of God." Or Colossians chapter 3 verse 22 to 24, where Paul warns slaves to do their work as to their heavenly master, and also for earthly masters to respect their slaves because of the same reason. This is why Jesus often talks about participating in kingdom work as a servant's service. Luke 17:10, "After you have done everything you are supposed to do, say, 'We are unworthy servants, we have only done our duty.'" Dearly beloved, the magnitude, glory, and benevolence of God is such that they not only warrant our praise, emotions, and our momentary bowing in reverence, they demand that all of life be ordered in accordance with the truth of who He is. This is why it is worth doing what you do with skill. This is why it is worth not cheating on that test and instead give your focused effort to study for that subject. This is why it is worth enduring hardships and discipline in faith and life. Because when we do it as to God, He takes it as an acceptable aroma. So go ahead and hone that skill. Go ahead and ace that test. Go ahead and suffer well. I pray this series blessed you, beloved. In the words of Johann Sebastian Bach, Soli Deo Gloria.
Dear listener, we are here to stand with you in your time of need. We want to pray with you and for your prayer request. Do you need someone to talk to? We are here for you. Call us or send a message at +91 636 425 2164, +91 636 425 2164. God bless you.